I was working the land for my Texan farmer overlords, wielding a scythe in one hand and a sickle in the other during my casual 12-hour shift, when I suddenly heard a voice from a speaker above me.
Esto no es un simulacro. Viene el ICE, todos corran, nos van a deportar, jajajajajaja.
So I did what any sane person will do in that situation. I stole someone's laptop. I rushed to the nearest Starbucks, bought the smallest iced coffee, which for some reason is called grande, and spent over 30 hours playing Geoguessr, especially the Europe map, where you need to guess in which country you are based on a street view location. Have you ever wondered what Switzerland looks like? How is it different from Norway? Well, you probably haven't thought about it, but I've decided to make a guide for it. I'll only list the clues that help me correctly guess the country in Europe most of the time, if not always. This includes vibes, vegetation, infrastructure, or the lack thereof. Let's start with the Netherlands, the only country that looks like a Fortnite map before anything loads in. This place is so flat, it might be the only spot where flat earthers feel comfortable with their life choices. If you're surrounded by a completely flat landscape, especially with trees on a line next to roads and brick houses everywhere, you're probably on the Netherlands. The 10th circle of hell, or as some might recognize it as, the United Kingdom.
I just woke up in a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole!
A couple of things tell me I'm in the United Kingdom. First, the number of people carrying knives. Second, hedgerows everywhere. You'll see them next to roads, surrounding houses. They're just unavoidable. Either that, or you'll notice bulging bits of land next to the roads. Apartments might look similar to those in Netherlands, but most houses and apartments buildings in the UK have a less organized look by comparison. My only exposure to Ireland is Conor McGregor, and that's pretty good because he's basically Ireland's global representative. But I do worry that one day he'll advise the USA to invade Colombia for its valuable resources. One way to tell the difference between the UK and Ireland is the road markings. In the UK, you'll often see double yellow lines on each side of the road, especially in cities. In contrast, Ireland has yellow dashed lines on the outside of the road. Most houses in Ireland are either white or made of stone with dark roofs. They tend to be wide but not very deep. Kind of like German houses, but way smaller. This has to be the country Kojima based Death Stranding on. Everything looks wet, lush, and mossy. The land is not that flat, but vast, and you can see mountains and hills on the horizon. Houses in Iceland are mostly spread out, and Iceland has road signs with a distinct yellow background. There is this racism index maps for Europe, and I was looking it up, and I see Norway with a racism level on green, which I'm thinking, well, I mind that's pretty good. And I look up the country next to it, and Sweden is painted with this peace yellow color. And I'm thinking, what the hell happened in Sweden, bro? I have these countries together since they look fairly similar. One way you can 100% know that you are in these three countries is based on their houses. Most of their houses are made of wood planks, at least on the outside, for road lines. Sweden has short dashes, Norway has normal length dashes, and Finland has continuous lines on the sides. There is this thing called the snow poles in the Nordic countries. They're actually fairly useful to know, because if you play in Geoguessr, you will most likely be dropped in the middle of nowhere, so knowing these snow poles is actually fairly useful. One of the best clues for Italy is their guardrails, which have red reflectors instead of yellow ones found in Spain. Italian license plates are also unique, featuring blue strips on both the left and right side. If you see poles with waffle-like dents all over it, you're either in France or Spain. If you see this bollard, a circular white post with a reflective band around it and a pointed top, which is frequently seen along roads. Another unique detail is the small rectangular blue sticker found on French utility poles, which doesn't appear anywhere else. I'm recording this at 4 a.m. I have no intro for Spain. Fuck Spain. Spanish road signs do not have a white border. Instead, they are completely red along the edges. A useful tip is to check guardrails. I'm going to keep it real. These countries are so damn huge. If you spawn in any of these countries without any sign, guardrail, or house in plain sight, you're screwed. Most of the Baltics is just desolated land, so bollards and poles are very important for figuring out where you are. Lithuanian bollards are wedge-shaped with rectangular orange front reflectors and white black reflectors. Pole tops often have short horizontal rods for insulators, sometimes arranged in a trident shape. Latvian bollards are thin and slightly curved. Their pole tops feature hook-shaped insulators arranged alternately. Estonian bollards are round and baton-like, with a rectangular front reflector and two circular back reflectors, white or orange. Also, is there some kind of Eastern Europe debuff I don't know about? Every country to the east is just broke as hell. I've lost count of how many rounds I've played where I spawned in front of the most depressing Soviet apartment block imaginable. Looking at them made me genuinely believe the events of Metro actually happened. Russia actually is mostly empty like a DayZ map. So one key detail to remember is that Russia signposts are painted black at the base. Also, Russia has this weird crosswell sign that looks like an alien look with a yellow border. Ukraine looks a lot like Russia, just slightly less sad. The main difference are Ukrainian roads. The roads look like they were just nuked. Honestly, it's probably easier to drive in Fallout 3 than in Ukrainian roads. Another giveaway is the concrete square-shaped poles you'll see everywhere. Plus, Ukraine has a habit of painting the bases of trees and poles white. You can spot Serbia by its mesh poles that look like mini transmission towers. Also, their bollards look like something an AI image generator will create. Like a kid trying to draw a bollard from memory. Bulgaria is one of the hardest countries to guess, at least for me. Sometimes it looks like the Baltics, and other times it resembles Serbia, especially in terms of landscape. But the best way to identify Bulgaria is by their utility poles, which look like Spanish ladder poles, except the dents are usually longer, and they also have bilingual directional signs. Okay, I ran out of time for the video. I didn't reach the 10-minute mark, but I have enough time to tell you guys about it. And I study like these crossing signs in Europe. I feel like they're pretty useful. No, they're not that much. It's like it gets like a 4 out of 10 in usefulness. If you land in Europe, maybe like 2 out of 10 times you get like a crossing sign. It's enough that actually you need to like learn them. Also, bollards in some countries. You guys can see the map here. In some countries, bollards are really useful. Like in Germany, the German bollards like are actually everywhere. Also in France, in the Baltics, the Lithuanian bollard is actually pretty good because you can see them a lot. Yeah, I feel like bollards are actually really useful. I feel like half the rounds you land in Europe, you actually see it a lot. Also, the Polish bollard is a classic. It's an actual classic. So are really useful and also they're pretty fun to learn. And yeah, I'm definitely not trying to pad out the video because I got lazy at the end and I want to hit the 10-minute mark. I'm totally not doing that, but yeah,